And here is a quick little tool to analyze where the frustration comes from, why it happens, and then how to grow out of it. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Mojo, founder of the Mojo Human Performance Institute, where we focus on business, mindset, and lifestyle hacking for driven mofos. The reason why I do these episodes is that most people waste their life. I just don't want you to be one of them. Essentially, I don't want people to waste their life doing dumb shit or playing the victim mentality or just not pushing themselves hard enough to get the results that they want. I really believe that most people know that they can be better and most people know that they can be achieving more. They just don't have the right mental performance tools or resources to help them to do that. And so that's why I do these episodes. Anyway, let's talk about frustration. So last night I was talking to a client of mine. She's a business owner. And she was just saying how she was getting some frustrations with staff. And what I did was I showed a framework that I'd created, and I haven't really shared this with too many people yet. I'm pretty much sharing it with you guys now, but also I've only shared it with a couple of other private clients, and I'll put this into our Triumph leadership event, our leadership and communication event. But essentially there is 3 ways of breaking down most frustrations. So normally you've got a frustration of resource. The next one is there is a frustration of knowledge and skill, or there's a frustration of understanding or communication, I guess you could call it. So let's break each one of those down. So some people get really, really frustrated. It's because the resources aren't there. So I'll give you a really good example of this. Like Jess came to me the other day and she said, I'm frustrated because the numbers at one of our upcoming events were quite low because we haven't pushed it. We haven't really promoted it too hard. We're doing okay. Like I think there was like 35 people coming, which isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. We'll still run at a profit. And she said, a couple of people wanted to pull out or to change last minute, which always happens, right? Before an event, people start to freak out. They start to prioritize other shit. They forget why they signed up in the first place to do the event. So it's quite common that people change their mind right at the last minute. I mean, it's not good. It's not going to benefit them in life, that's for sure, because they signed up for a reason, right? And they're obviously not getting the results that they want, or else they wouldn't pay the money and commit to come and do it. And they've known for a period of time when the event date is. So they're just really shit with their time management. They adapt to things. They're consistently reactive, all the things that are going to stop them from achieving the things that they really want. But anyway, Jess comes to me and she said, I'm frustrated that some of the people wanted to pull out or whatever. And I said, look, based on the numbers, like if you look at it as a percentage, if a couple of people want to change, when you've got 35 people in an event, that's a fairly decent percentage, right? But I said, if we had 300 people, would you give a shit if 2 or 3 people pulled out or changed their mind or just whatever? And she said, well, no. And I said, cool. So what you're saying is there's a frustration of resource. If we had more resources or we had more numbers, then the frustration wouldn't be there. So now the thing is next year, now because we've put a lot of the foundations in this year, like our goal this year wasn't to grow. Our goal this year was essentially to build all the foundations, hence why we took a bit of a hit financially. Also, we had COVID and stuff like that as well. But we were building a lot of the foundations so we can grow off of again this year, and the growth has been happening. But the marketing and all that is only just starting to ramp up now. So next year will be a lot bigger for us and the events will be a lot bigger. The goal now is to realize that frustration is there and grow beyond it so that then we don't get frustrated anymore. And I notice this in business. Like if I have one person in our marketing team and that one person does a shitty job consistently, I get really fucked off because I'm relying on one person to do the marketing. Whereas if I had a team of 5 or 6 people and one person's doing a shitty job, it's not too bad because the others will sort of pick up the slack a little bit. It's not as big a problem. If you've got one salesperson who's under delivering, that can be a really stressful situation for a business owner because what are you going to do? Like you fire them, you don't have a salesperson. You keep them, they do a shit job, but there are at least sales coming in. Like, what do? You're essentially bent over a barrel and you're getting slammed from behind, I guess you could say it. But that's what's happening. If you've got 10 sales staff and one person's underperforming, then you're not bent over a barrel. You can essentially just get rid of them and get another person in, and it'll be a little bit of a pressure on the other people, but you'll be fine. So there is a frustration of resource there. So if you can identify what the frustration is and where it comes from, then you can figure out how to improve it in the future. So what I said to Jess was, we just need to grow the events way bigger and have way more people so that then you're not frustrated about people not rocking up, especially when it's only a couple. Now, when I was talking to this client as well, I was explaining this to them. Then I said, there's also a frustration of knowledge and skill. So for instance, if you've got someone, let's say in your team, and they say, I'm going to do this job, yet they're incompetent at doing that job, like they've never done it before. There's going to be a frustration of knowledge and skill there because you're going to expect that they're going to be able to do the job effectively in a short period of time, and they may not have the knowledge or the skill to suit that time frame. So either you have to train and develop them or let them have the time to develop that skill set, or you've got to get somebody else to do it. So you may have at points frustrations of knowledge or skill set. And this is very, very common. That frustration is extremely common with business owners Because normally when you're a small business, you'll employ a lot of, I guess, not highly skilled people. And because you won't have the money, like if you were going to go out and get a VP of marketing or a vice president of marketing or a president of marketing, that might cost you $200,000 or $300,000 a year, but you don't have that. So you end up hiring someone that you know, and they said that they're good with Facebook marketing, and you pay them $60,000 a year plus a bonus or whatever. So the quality is just completely different, but that's how it is. So you're going to say to them, I need this done by X time. They'll go, yeah, I can do that. And then as it gets close, you're like, where the fuck are my results? And they're like, oh, well, and then they come up with excuses and you'll get extremely frustrated. That's because normally there is a massive gap in skill and there's a massive gap in knowledge. And so you have a skill and a knowledge frustration. So that's quite common. That can happen if you're a parent too. You've got kids, you start training, developing them, you expect them that they're going to have skills and knowledges and pick up stuff really, really quickly. And if they don't, and they make mistakes and stuff, you can get frustrated. So that can be that frustration. It's important to identify that because then you know what to work on. You need to help them to develop their skills. You need to help them to develop their knowledge, and then that won't be a problem anymore. The third frustration is a frustration of understanding or a frustration of knowledge. Now, sometimes if you're explaining something, so let's say you get home from work, you're explaining something to your partner, you're really stressed out, and they sit there and they go, oh, yeah, cool, and then they just sort of avoid the conversation and then go back to what they were doing. You might get extremely frustrated because there is a frustration of communication and understanding. Whereas if they learn how to communicate more effectively and you learn how to communicate more effectively or explain things in detail or understand their values, then you can explain things more effectively. So then you won't have that frustration. So instead of just saying, I'm frustrated in the future, and then just leaving and going, I'm so frustrated at this situation, then you get all pissed off and you create a story and then you reinforce the story and go tell everybody about it, which does not help anybody or anything. If you can sit there and identify and go, hang on, is this a frustration of resource? Is this a frustration of knowledge and skill? Is this a frustration of communication and understanding? Which one is it? Then once you identify it, then you know what you need to do in order to solve that frustration or in order to deal with that frustration. Because you've either got to help someone create better resources or be more resourceful in regards to whatever the problem is. You then need to develop knowledge and skills with someone or with something in order to solve the problem more effectively or in order to get shit done more effectively. Or you need to develop better communication skills so that then you can be understood and communicated with more effectively. So that's really a fast track and a really quick way of understanding your own frustrations and helping to break them down, and it will help you resolve them instead of just being trapped in a vicious cycle. Like most people are consistently frustrated at the same shit over and over and over again, and you won't see progress in their life or in their business because they'll just keep having the same frustrations. So I wanted to share this because I was working with a client yesterday. She mentioned it. We went through, had a look at what frustration was, broke it down, figured out that the frustration was in a staff member who lacked the skills and the knowledge, and that she had to slow down when explaining things. She had to explain things in more details, communicate more effectively with them, create accountabilities, hold them accountable, but keep training them. And after that, she was like, okay, yep, I can see that's a consistent problem that I have. So not only was it a problem with one staff member, it was a pattern of behavior amongst a whole bunch of staff that she had. That pattern kept creating a cycle because she just didn't know any different. She didn't know how to identify the frustration. She just saw all her staff were useless, which wasn't the case. Not that she said that, but that was sort of like the consistent pattern of behavior was that, staff are just creating all these problems and so on. Anyway, I hope that helps Driven Mofos. If you haven't already done so, please jump across to our No BS Business Hacks group on Facebook. It's absolutely free if you're a business owner. So please jump across there, business owners. All you need to do is go to the search bar, type in No BS Business Hacks. It's for driven business owners who want to get shit done, who want to achieve more, and who are committed to growth. If you're not committed to growth, don't go in there. If you're just someone who wants to dabble and learn some shit and don't want any accountabilities or don't want to grow, then please don't get in that group, because I'm going to start pushing people to get results in that group and create more accountabilities and start doing some more stuff in there, because I want to see the growth out of that group. I'm going to be starting to get rid of a bunch of people who've been sitting in there for way too long and haven't been implementing stuff. Please, if you're a driven business owner, you want to get better results in your business, jump across that group. It's absolutely free. I'll be adding stuff in there most days, and it's stuff that you can use for your business. So anyway, have a great day, Driven Mofos. Keep kicking ass. Push hard. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.